Good morning, brothers and sisters. Before I begin, I want to thank each and every one of you. Dock workers, marine engineers, master mates and pilots, seafarers, and all maritime trade unionists who traveled across the globe to be here today. Your presence at this historic gathering is a powerful reminder of our shared struggle, our rich history, and our unbreakable commitment to protect this industry that we've built with our blood, our sweat, and our tears. Now, if you don't mind, let me start with something that's deeply personal and something this entire conference is built on. This gathering, this conference, this resistance, we dedicate to our brave brothers and sisters from SEAL, the Dock Workers Union of Portugal. Their 5-year strike wasn't just a battle, it was an all-out war. I followed it closely from day one. I was in regular contact with their leadership, especially with Antonio Mariano, Jose Monteiro, and Sergio Sosa. 3 men who showed the world what it means to be a dock worker. Fighters, leaders, and never quitters. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention Paulo, who passed away in the middle of the struggle. He battled to the end. He battled to the end, literally and figuratively, and was an inspiration throughout the entire strike. Their union and members stood tall in the face of pressure, in the face of hardship, in the face of everything designed to break them, and they never gave in. Their fight was our fight, and because of them, we are here together, stronger and more determined than ever. In the ILA's 2012 master contract negotiations, the ILA was very close to hitting the streets. And it was the union SEAL that was the first union that came to our defense. And that's something that I will never forget. And more important than me is that the members of ILA Local 1804-1 never forgot. And they made sure that during your 5-year struggle that we sent over resources to help SEAL with the hardships that you were all facing. SEAL reminded the world of something that we must never forget. Dock workers don't back down, and we will never, ever surrender. Not in Lisbon, not in New York, not in Sydney, not in Central and South America, not anywhere in this world will we ever, ever surrender. So today, this conference is dedicated to SEAL, to every dock worker, marine engineer, seafarer, master mate and pilot, every maritime worker who refuses to be silenced, replaced, or erased. Our time is now. It's also very important for me to mention that during the 5-year strike, there were people that were fired, or in other countries they called sack. Well, we have 7 very important rank and file members here who were fired during that struggle, but are now reinstated and back to work where they belong. And I would like to recognize them here in front of the crowd. I would ask you to please stand up when I mention your name. Andre Santos, Bruno Mota, Bruno Piers, Hugo Joel, Hugo Taniero, Luis Francisco, and Sergio Fernandez. Now, let me tell you who made this possible. We didn't come here by chance. We didn't come here just to talk. We came here to prepare for war. And we were never blindsided because one man had the vision to see it coming. And that man is Harold J. Daggett, president of the ILA. Back in the late 1980s, Harold visited a Sealand terminal overseas, and what he saw would chill any union leader to the bone. Container handling equipment with no operators, control towers with very few people inside, machines doing work of hundreds of dock workers. He knew what was coming, and he never stopped preparing us. Today, Harold has close to 59 years in the ILA and the longshore industry. He's been our chief negotiator and has secured what many believe to be the strongest automation protections in the world. Not the US, but in the world. But what inspires me most about Harold Daggett isn't just his legacy, it's that he's still fighting like hell. At 79 years old, after decades of protecting and preserving jobs for generations of ILA families, he still gets up every morning ready to swing. He's got that fire in his gut, that grit in his soul, and that relentless drive to make sure longshore workers have a future, not just today, but for future generations to come. He doesn't just want to know he did his job. He wants to leave this world knowing we're armed and ready to defend our jobs for the rest of our time. And that, my friends, is why we're here today. Automation. Let the numbers speak for themselves. Let me make this real for you for a minute. Before containerization in the Port of New York and New Jersey, we had over 50,000 ILA members. Today, on our busiest day, when volume is up, we're lucky to have 5,000. Think about that for a minute. That's a 90% reduction in manpower. Now, let's be honest. Containerization wasn't just some corporate plot. It was a legitimate innovation. It changed how the world moved cargo. It allowed goods to be transferred seamlessly from ship to rail to truck. Intermodal transportation revolutionized the industry. But we paid the price for that revolution. It gutted our numbers, reshaped our crafts, and decimated our port communities. But here's the problem today. Employers are trying to pull the same trick, only this time they're calling it automation, modernization. But let's be clear, this isn't about moving cargo faster, it's about moving us out of the picture. It's about cutting labor to pad profits. It's about eliminating people, not improving performance. So no, this time we're not going to be caught off guard. This time we call it what it is, a corporate strategy to erase working-class jobs and spin it under a feel-good word like modernization. They can wordsmith it all they want. They can call it innovation, they can call it progress, but we know exactly what it is. It's job-killing technology, plain and simple. You know, if you walk through some of today's so-called next-generation terminals, you can feel it instantly. The eerie quiet, machines move, but people don't. Towering ship-to-shore cranes that are operated remotely from offices miles away. Automated stacking cranes and yard tractors move containers in silence, guided by sensors and GPS rather than skilled hands and eyes. Fully automated yards look more like data centers than ports nowadays. Bright lights, bright screens, blinking lights, and barely any dock workers in sight. They call it progress, but what we see is the slow erasure of the very people who built this industry. And now, that same approach is spreading to the truck gates, the lifeline of every terminal. Systems branded as Smart Tech, Smart Gate. Gate operations that use AI vision and RFID sensors to scan every truck, chassis, and container. Drivers check in through apps. Barriers lift automatically. And transactions happen with little or no human interaction. They promote it as modernization, but we know what really is. It's another step toward removing the human element from our ports and cutting the jobs that sustain working families. What's happening in one port today will happen in another port tomorrow. It's not isolated, it's coordinated. The same technologies being sold under different names across continents are part of a global effort to normalize automation and justify the amount. That's why we're here. That's why we're here in Lisbon, to draw the line together, to say that dock workers from every nation, every coast, every terminal will not be replaced by machines. This fight is not just about preserving jobs, it's about preserving identity, community, and human dignity. You see the videos on YouTube. They look futuristic, clean, efficient. But what you don't see are the towns left behind. You don't see the suicide rates. You don't see the families destroyed. And you barely see any dock workers on the terminal. They say, don't worry. We'll eliminate one craft, but we'll create another. It'll be a net gain. That's what we always hear. It'll be a net gain. Well, let me be clear. In the ILA, we have 4 crafts, and every one of them matters. The longshore craft, the clerks and checkers, the warehouse workers, and the maintenance workers. And historically, when volumes went up, so did our manpower. That was the balance, and that was the truth. Now, when the volumes go up, profits explode, they want our people to disappear. We will never let them profit off of our extinction. They're going to have to climb over hundreds of thousands of dock workers before we ever let that happen. We also need to call out the quiet killers. The TOS platforms, the terminal operating systems like Navis N4, because they don't just come at you with robots, they come at you with lines of code. And they slowly chip away at job functions, making decisions humans used to make and pretend it's just progress. I'm not against systems that help workers. I'm against systems that replace workers. Let dock workers use the tools. Don't let the tools erase the dock workers. And this is something that really, really gets under my skin. Don't you ever let anybody tell you that we are the cartel. You want to see a cartel? You take a look at DP World, APM Terminals, Hutchinson, PSA, SS Marine. That is the real cartels. They slash labor to the bone. They take the money they stole from the working people and pour it into machines designed to erase us. They wine and dine politicians to rewrite the laws built on the backs of dock workers. They call it efficiency, they call it modernization, they call it progress, but we know exactly what it is. It's corporate greed dressed up in a shiny suit. It's the rich rewriting the future to delete the working class. They don't want to innovate, they want to dominate. They don't want to modernize, they want to monopolize. They want to turn our ports into ghost towns and have our jobs into memories. Well, here's the message from the men and women who built these ports. We're not going anywhere. We've seen this movie before. But this time, we're not just refusing to be the sequel. We're burning the fucking script and we're writing the ending. This isn't just about the ILA and the ILWU. This isn't just about Portugal and Spain or Australia. This is a global war. If a union is under attack in South of America, we show up. If a strike hits Europe, we stand and support. Now, as you heard and you saw and you read about, last year in October, the ILA had a 3-day coast-wide strike from Maine to Texas. Now, when you're involved with a struggle, usually you face a lot of hardship. We were very fortunate. And I have to tell you this. As a trade unionist, there is no better feeling than seeing the rank and file that you represent standing shoulder to shoulder in unity with no division. And then turning around on October 1st, 2024, at 12:01 a.m., and seeing on the picket line my brother, Jordi Aragunde, standing with me. President of the ILWU, Bobby Alvera, standing with me. A delegation from Hawaii, Tacoma, San Francisco, LA. There is no better feeling. The former president of the ILWU, Willie Adams, was in Charleston, South Carolina. There was no better feeling than having that solidarity and that unity on the picket line and knowing that you are not standing alone. So thank you all so, so much. If a new automation threat shows up anywhere in the world, we must share the intel. We must sound the alarm, and we fight it together. Our employers are organized, our governments are compromised, so we, the workers, must be unbreakable and relentless in our pursuit of justice. Now, we know that every country's labor laws are different. Some of us are protected, and some of us are persecuted. In some places, unions are treated like criminal organizations. But we're not criminals. We're the people who put the food on the tables, medicine on ships, and keep the economies moving. It's time that we fight back in the courtrooms, in parliaments, in the street, and at the docks. This isn't just a labor issue, brothers and sisters. This is a human rights issue. Our eyes must be open and our fists better be ready. Now, let me close with this. We aren't anti-technology. We are anti-bullshit. We are anti-lies that say a machine can love a job. We are anti-theft of our futures so someone else can fly private and bathe in greed. We learn from history. We felt the pain of containerization. And we will not take a similar hit again. We will fight together. We will rise together. We will win together. But we will also stay smart. Watch your enemies close across the table. Study their every move. Educate yourselves not just to fight in the streets, but to dominate at the bargaining table. We are dock workers. We are maritime workers. We are defenders of our crafts. And like in the words of Bobby Alvera, the docks are ours. And if we are united, if we hold the line together, then brothers and sisters, it's impossible to fail. Thank you all very, very much.